participation, Irina, Mr. Anantagiri, Kiranjot, Mansi, Mr. Pradhanji. So thank you so much for joining today's session. So let's start today's session with an invocation of a song. So let me just share the screen. Thank you, dear unexpected participant. First of all, I welcome on behalf of Vishwaneedam Center for listening to all our participants, particularly Dr. Anga Tendulkarji. He is Head and Associate Professor, Department of Technology, Sophia College, Mumbai. Dear and respected friend, this summer school is being nurtured by Vishwaneedam Center for Listening in collaboration with OK Mind and Government Arts, Commerce and PG College, which is an autonomous college of Karnataka, Hassan. Let me give a brief introduction to our Vishwaneedam Center for Listening. Vishwaneedam Center for Listening is a public intellectual trust, and we have collaborations with different institutions, university in India, Asia, and abroad. We conceive this institute as a long-term project involving our sadhana and struggle. This is a kind of intellectual trust which helps and wants to help all those institutes who are in our association. We have the International Summer School. This is the first international summer school we are nurturing. And we have also many projects like weekly webinar, seminar. We have Swadhyay Sahachakra, that is co-learning circle of self and national studies. We have Asian Forum of Social Theory, where we can see our project in the very empowerment of Asian social theory building. We have Gandhi Gopinath Gopbandhu Center for Chitranjan Das and global learning. So we have a complete associations with different institutions. We have so many collaborators. So we are just trying to make the world which is based on justice, liberty, fraternity, and particularly we can see our project is evolving. So thank you so much for joining this very international summer school. We had 3 sessions till now. We started with Dr. Anand P. Ambali. He talked about health perspective of aging. Then we can see Dr. Nimisha Vandan and Amit Pantun. Both of them help us to understand the aging problem with psycho analytical or psychological perspective. Finally, we have now we have sociological perspective. So we have with us Dr. Anga Tendulkar, madam. As I have said, she is head and associate professor, and she is also vice president of Sophia College, Mumbai. So now I would like to invite Dr. Tendulkar to kindly present her presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. As Sir correctly pointed out, we looked at aging from a medical viewpoint on the first day. Then we looked at aging from a psychological viewpoint on the second day. And we've proceeded now. Today we have day 4, and it is about sociology. I'm going to share with you a small little story and then we go ahead with regard to aging. So when I chose this particular topic as my topic for doctoral work, which was many years ago, people asked me, look, senior citizens are with psychological problems, so psychologists must study aging. They have health problems, so doctors must study aging. But as a sociologist, what are you going to do about aging? And I said, oh, I have so much to do. I have to study so much. But why are people asking these questions to me? Is it that people don't see potential in sociology to study aging? And I said, come on, now I'm on a mission to prove to people that aging has a very strong sociological dimension. So I was actually not just doing PhD work, but I was on a mission of exploring where sociologists can get into the problem and the phenomenon of aging. Okay. Now, I must tell you that this mission was exceedingly successful as I started reading more, because I realized that, yes, you require doctors, yes, you require counselors, but it is an ever-encompassing requirement of the process of aging to have sociologists understanding psychology, understanding medical, understanding financial aspects of aging. So here I am sitting on the Zoom and trying to have a dialogue with you all with regard to the potential of sociology of aging. And I'm sure at the end of this session, all of you are going to say that, indeed, ma'am, there's so much, Anaga, that we can do about sociology of aging. So I have put my topic as sociology of aging so that we all can share our thoughts about it. And I'm going to be doing for the first, say, 45 minutes, what I want to say with you all. At that point, I'm going to request you all to just sit back, absorb, understand, and then maybe in the last 15 minutes, we can have a quick dialogue about what we have gathered and what I can take away from this particular presentation and the interaction with you all. So I have this small little slide, which is easily available, okay, everywhere. I'm sure you're aware of it when we talk about aging. And what you can see here most prominently is a stick. And what you can also see here is the two hands that are placed or rested on the stick, one after the other. Okay. People look at it as a symbol of dependence. I have always looked at it as a symbol of wisdom. I've always felt that this is not dependence. This is a gathering of the way you have spent your life and how we are going to be taking it forward after that. So the color that I have chosen, the background that I have chosen that you can see here, I'll stop sharing after this so that you can think, and I'll go back to my presentation after that, is a yellow. And why do you think I have chosen a yellow? I have chosen a yellow because I have seen many times a gray around. You know, we call aging a graying kind of revolution. And gray is a very interesting color. People tell me it's a depressing color. I say, no, it is a color which tells you to decide or gives you an opportunity to decide whether you want to go towards a black, if you take symbolically black as not so good, or towards different shades of white, okay, symbolically a hope and potential and sharing and peace. So I have always liked the gray for the reason that I believe that the gray allows you to keep in mind the possibilities that are innumerable in front of you. So here we go with the presentation. I'm back with this and I'm going to be now doing a presentation. I'm trying to put it in a presentation mode so that it helps, where we are going to call it Sociology of Aging. Sociology includes psychology, finance, cultural dimensions, and all of it. So I always take pride in saying my discipline is an ever-encompassing discipline. Now, I have kind of, roughly put it into three sections. The first section is what you are aware of, right? All of us are aware of, and that is individual aging. But let me tell you, we just think that we know what it is. So first section is about how are academicians trying to understand aging. So we say that aging is a very, natural and universal lifelong process. Please be aware, it's a lifelong process. It implies change in your body, which is visible, but it also implies change in your mind. I don't know whether people have realized this, okay? With its gradual impact on social life and its gradual impact on lifestyle. See, very interesting this is. We have always been thinking about aging as per the body. The bodily image changes, what happens. We are going to share that in today's lecture as well. Mind, we aren't even thinking about. And we aren't definitely thinking about its impact on social life and on lifestyle. So let's go on this journey and let's understand that when you say aging, we have done this earlier as well many times. In most of the sessions I talk about this. We got to keep in mind there's something called chronological aging. And I remember Dr. Ambali spoke about biological aging, and there is psychological aging, and there is social aging as well. So right now as a group, we have a very good departure point because we have kind of already understood what is biological aging, okay? Many times we have placed chronological and biological together. So every time I say I'm aging or I ask somebody, how old are you? I am actually asking about chronological age. So I say, okay, I'm 50, I'm 60, I'm 70. But immediately I'm also commenting on biological age of somebody. And mind you, we make a mistake of commenting on psychological age as well. So sad, but we do it. And we also comment on sociological age. Okay. Is it good? No, it's not good. Is it fair? It's definitely unfair. And is it scientific? No, it's totally unscientific. So I'm telling you, and let's understand this, that these are important segments of aging, but they do not essentially match for everybody in the same fashion. So going back to this again, if I am 60, you do not know whether my biological components are matching with that 60. You do not know whether my psychological capacities are matching with that 60. And you certainly do not know whether my social age is matching with that 60. Now you will say, why? And then this is completely confusing. This is not confusing. This is complicated. This is complex. And what we have done, particularly in India, is we have tried to simplify all this. We have made one capsule out of these multi-variable kind of situation because we like it simple. We don't like to shake our comfort zone. We don't like to experiment. So we have decided that at the age of 60, you are old. Mind you, I'm talking not about old here. I'm talking about the process of aging. And process of aging implies the day you're born, it has begun. Right? Right? So you say that my child is 2 months old. My child is 20 years old. My child is 30 years old today. The aging is a continuous process. Our problem is we have married aging with 60. And we have made it so simple that it has become problematic as far as India is concerned. So I want to share with you very quickly these important aspects of aging. Number one, please keep in mind that aging is a process. It's not a phenomenon. It is a lifelong process, and there is everything perfectly normal about aging. I don't know why in India we keep talking about anti-aging all the time. I mean, who's interested in anti-aging? Who is interested in anti-aging? I'm interested in positive aging. I'm interested in respectful aging. I'm interested in fulfilling aging. Anti-aging, we are making aging sound like it's some kind of criminal offense, some kind of sin, some kind of abnormality that we have to constantly fight against. At the beginning of my presentation, therefore, I'm saying respect, accept, salute your aging process as normal, and it is inevitable. Now, like I said earlier, it's not a simple process. We have put all the old people in one basket. We have packed them up and we have kept them at a safe place, which is different than the normal life, which is very different than what we say is healthy life. Mind you, actually elderly people do not constitute a homogeneous, very monolithic category. I've said this in all my presentations. Keep in mind, an urban person will age differently than a rural person. A man ages differently than a woman, right? A person in near mountains, hilly region, will age differently than a person who's near seas and beaches. A person who's a vegetarian will age differently than a person who has been a non-vegetarian. A person who has been always supported by family will age differently than a person who has been alone and has taken life in a different way than being supported all the time. So let's understand this. We are making a huge error by putting all elderly people together in one common shell and saying, these are the people who need our attention. Whether that is correct or not, we take that up later. But mind you, all those who are in the meeting right now, we are going to tell ourselves that we are not going to be treating elderly as a homogeneous, monolithic category. Sorry, that's wrong. So different people age differently, and therefore, process of aging is universal. We all go through aging. Right now also, as the moments are passing by, we all are aging, whether you're 20, whether you're 22, whether you are 50, whether you're 60, we all are aging. So it's universal. No living being is not aging. Living, therefore aging. I will say aging, therefore living. Okay, so the process of aging is universal. But keep in mind, like I said earlier, it's not uniform. It's not the same everywhere. I have explained that point earlier to you. Now I'll go to the next slide. Therefore, I always say what I said right now, anti-aging is a myth. Please do not fall prey to cosmetic anti-aging products. Say that you're interested in successful aging, happy aging, productive aging. And mind you, once you accept your process of aging, you almost accept the fact that you are a mortal human being. It will remind you of the actions, the answerability, the ethicality of your existence in society. It's very important. I have left that sentence incomplete. You know why? You must see what I have written after this. Anti-aging is a market gimmick. We talk about political economy of aging. We have forgotten they are selling products to you saying these are anti-aging products. And mind you, they have anti-aging product for skin, anti-aging product for body. Why can't we turn around and ask our market, do you have an anti-aging product for my mind, for my soul? The answer will be no, we don't have one. The truth is, the market is fooling you all into, fooling all of us into this anti-aging game. We have to get out of it. We got to accept aging. You will be more at peace with your own existence because aging is not problematic all the time. I'm now introducing to the people, esteemed audience, the second concept. As a sociologist, this concept is very, very important, and that's called population aging. We have heard about it. We are going to quickly run through that. So we are finished with section 1, which is about aging. And now I'm going towards the second section, which is population aging. We have heard about it. Like I said, it is also called demographic aging, right? We have heard. The term demographic aging was first discussed, or rather population aging was first discussed in the year 1982, okay? So when United Nations had that first World Conference in Vienna, they said that aging is important, but as the elderly people are increasing in proportion in society, isn't society also aging? Isn't the population in bulk aging? Isn't the demography showing a trend towards the number of aged people increasing? And this number of aged people increasing in proportion with other demographic cohorts is called population aging, is called demographic aging. So it just roughly means increase in the number of elderly in the total population. Now, I want to say this very openly to everybody. Keep in mind that it's very different than individual aging. Now, why am I saying this? Very quickly. See, individual aging implies that once you are from 40 to 41, or 41 to 42, or 42 to 52, 52 to 62, you cannot go back. It is not a reversible process. It is a process which is completely unidirectional. In society, in population aging, that's not true. Your society can be a young society, can become old society, and can probably go back as demographic shifts happen to a younger society than before. So always keep in mind that individual aging is different than demographic aging, because the implications are different, because the requirements are different, because the ideology behind it is different, paradigm is different, okay? So I'm going to, this is again the data with our esteemed audience, you are aware of this. Just to have a departure point for today's discussion, we have seen this earlier, but I want to reiterate. Look at our 1901, 5.06. The proportion of people, old people. 1961, 5.63, it has gone up there, as you can see, but it's still stable. I mean, from 1901 to 1961, it's not a huge jump in proportion. Now you will see 1991, it's 6.7, 201, 7.7, 211, 8.6. You'll be surprised that our global agencies, and we've heard about it, say that the moment you are 7% and more in society, you have to understand that you are moving towards demographic aging. Now, why are they saying this? See, the implications of aging are many. And before I go to implications, I want to connect, I want to combine the understanding of individual and aging. And I want to also then talk about society and aging. These two we have discussed already, okay? Let's look at them theoretically. So when you say individual and aging, there are a few theories that we must concentrate on. These theories will tell you about how individual ages and how individual must age. So there is something called, again, some of you have read it, many of you are aware of these, but important that my aging, individual aging, can be explained with the help of activity theory. I continue to be active in society. These are social theories. I continue to be active in society. I continue to take my roles, new roles that are coming to me, from being a wife perhaps to being a mother-in-law, from mother-in-law becoming, say for example, a grandmother. As I age, if I keep up with the activities that the different roles give to me, I'm, as a woman, saying that it's a mother's role and a daughter's role and mother's role and grandmother's role. For a man, it could be, a son's role and a husband's role and a father-in-law's role, and it could be a grandfather's role. But if you are going to be active in each of the role that society has assigned to you, your aging will be defined, will be determined in a particular way. There's another theory in India, particularly, it has been very, very popular because we have something called Vanaprasthashram, where we say disengage. Do not keep your engagements as going as they are when you were young. Disengage, withdraw, reduce your intervention. A disengagement theory tells you that if you withdraw a little more from your responsibilities, your aging will happen in a different kind of format. There's something called continuity theory as well. I have personally respected role theory quite a lot, but I've spoken about it while I was talking about activity theory. So when you talk about continuity theory, it's about, all right, I am working, I have worked for 40 years or 35 years, say, for example, and now I've retired. Now, when I retire, suddenly, today I'm working, it's my 60th birthday, and the next day I am told, you are not going to any office. Wow. That means that there is a gap, there is a disconnect in the roles that I occupy, in the role that I occupied earlier and the role that I am expected to occupy now. I have many times in many of the articles and many of the discussions I've said, we must introduce something called staggered retirement from everything, not just work-related thing, even in a household for a woman, okay, where there is no retirement, somebody should introduce a staggered retirement. A woman is rolling out chapatis till the day she can do it. And then when she cannot do it, she's bedridden, she cannot handle it, she regrets the fact that she cannot do it. I am saying, stagger it and tell her, now you can slow down, give it to somebody. We don't have this concept. We have just not nurtured this concept. Retirement, therefore, is very harsh on many people because there is a lack of continuity. The authority, the power, the earning capacity is suddenly disconnected, and I feel so vulnerable. I feel so marginalized suddenly. That continuity theory, therefore, that continuity, therefore, will have to be maintained, is what we are saying. These are just three important theories that I've taken up. These are no way exhaustive theories about individual and aging. There are many more theories. Right now, for the session, these three theories are very, precious. So keep these three theories in mind. Those who are interested in studying aging must read these three classical theories of aging. Now I'll go to the second half, and that's society and aging. Now in society and aging, I have spoken about population aging already. So in population aging, I have said that the number of senior citizens will grow in proportion. So if you connect them with the working population, the proportion or the ratio will not look even. So I will give you one simple example as a sociologist, as a student of sociology for some years now. I am saying this, that look, earlier in a joint family, there were, a couple had 2 to 3 children. And the 2 to 3 children, when married, became 6 active caregivers to those two aging people, the parents. Now what has happened is that with hum do hamare do and then later hum do hamara ek, that one person in the family of the next generation is a caregiver, mind you, to the old people, and a caregiver, mind you, to also the young people in the family. So it has this huge repercussion where the family, which is a caregiver family or a caregiver couple, as I always say, is a sandwich generation. And if you are a woman in that particular group and not a man, culturally, women are trained to be caregivers. So I am expected to give care to my parents if I'm the only child. And also, mind you, I'm an active caregiver to my in-laws as well. What is the proportion like? One active caregiver and 4 people. This active caregiver is working as well. So as the 4 are aging, this one caregiver is aging very rapidly because she has this additional and not very supported kind of role, which is a caregiving role. So as modernization is happening in society, population aging is taking a very, very serious kind of dimension, and we will have to look into it. There is an age stratification theory which talks about how you're placed in society and how you're stratified automatically, either right on the top or at the bottom of the top, at the bottom of the hierarchy. So, it's strange, but we don't have in India any longer gerontocracy of any type. So it's strange that you are continuously, as you age, thrown out of the mainstream. And slowly you're told that, look, you're at the bottom. You are no longer consulted. You're no longer in society, in family. Your opinions are not generally asked for. With globalization, with modernization, the positions of senior citizens in society are heavily compromised. And it is sad. It is a sad story. What I spoke about anti-aging and gimmick is what I'm coming back to. There is this whole theory of political economy of aging. So you will see that in market, there are packages for senior citizens. And somehow we have started believing that they really care for senior citizens. My question is market caring for poor senior citizens? Is market caring right now for senior citizens who do not have money? Is market caring for those who do not have resources? No. So it becomes like one political economy that is revolving around those senior citizens who have worked extremely hard, but have been in organized sector, have basically good pension, are doing well. Catch hold of them and make them what? Make them victims of this political economy. And it's sad, we aren't even appreciating it. By doing this, what's happening is there is a divide and rule policy. There are well-to-do senior citizens who feel that they are perfectly all right. They don't need active help. They are not really coming and joining hands with other senior citizens, and the power of senior citizens, therefore, is all diffused. So you will find that the NRIs are different and are talking about different set of problems than the poor senior citizens who are right now. And you can see it even in Mumbai. I come from Mumbai. Let me tell you, if you look at Mumbai, you will see ghettos, clusters of privileged senior citizens and not so privileged senior citizens. And the problem is that the bridge is completely missing. I'm sure this is in every state, but particularly in industrial states, you will see this very, very commonly. So whenever you say that senior citizens must come together to fight against or fight for their rights, fight against the apathy of government, there are very few senior citizens. joining hands is not strong. And do you know why? Number one, you're talking about a group that is growing frail day by day, and they are divided. They are rich, they are poor, they are healthy, they are unhealthy. There are men and there are women. Okay, they are from industrial states and they are from tribal states, say for example. They are from formal sector, retired from there, and they are from informal sector. So let's get this clear, that there is a strong connection between individual and aging and society and aging, but these two are different than each other. So the line that I've just drawn is talking about the connection. But keep in mind, there are different theories that demographers and gerontologists will have to work on when they talk about aging and population aging as two important processes. So implications of population aging. I think I am a lecturer, I can talk continuously. I would be happy if you want to ask anything and we take a break and talk about it. I'll give you all a minute, like I always give it to the listeners, a minute of silence just to listen to oneself, to gather what we have done so far, to understand it better, and then we take it ahead. So exactly 1 minute to think about it. Exactly 1 minute to think about it, but it's important. In case in this 1 minute, anybody wants to break the silence, please go ahead and do that. I'll be very happy. So, right, I'm going to keep quiet. Believe it or not, it's very difficult to tell a lecturer to keep quiet. Okay, there you go. So if there are no questions, we go ahead. So I'm talking about a situation here where I'm talking about implications of this whole population aging. We looked at the theories just now, right? And I hope you're enjoying right now the individual and aging, right? And the society and aging. Now here we are talking about society, and I'm saying that right now, most of the Asian societies, I'm not even talking about nations, forget countries, most of the Asian societies, and there's a lot common in Asian societies in terms of culture, in terms of society, in terms of values, are grappling with population aging that they aren't even officially recognizing as an issue. I'm not using the term problem, I'm using the term issue and concerns. So is population aging an issue? Yes, it is. It is a huge issue. But we don't want to think about it. I told you, we are so, engrossed in simplifying all our thought processes that we just put the aged, the elderly, so-called, I call them elders, I don't like to call them elderly, the elders in one basket. And we say, there they are. We have to give them some privileges. We have to give them some concessions, and they will be happy about it. Are you even listening to them? Are you even listening to them? I was fascinated. I've always been fascinated by Dr. Ambani's work, one of our resource persons. What I've always felt that, the doctors who sit back and listen, read between the lines and between the prescription, are the people that we are actually looking for. If you want to be successful in connecting with senior citizens and you want to be happy about your work in senior citizens, you got to listen. Seriously. If you are a poor listener, you will not be able to even hear those little noises that they are making, and this big gray revolution that is slowly moving towards Asian societies. It's a very, very scary kind of explosion that we are going to be facing. So I am telling you again, the implication is going to be economic, and it is huge. I am saying this again, I am no longer going to, in general, not in person, I'm saying in general, if I retire at the age of 60, I have, thanks to doctors, thanks to medical advancement, thanks to that increased longevity, I have yet another 10 good active years or 15 good active years and some more years to be on this planet. And to be on this planet, I need money. I'm serious. I definitely need money. Now, those were the days when you retired with good pension and you probably did not have as many years on this planet as now you are likely to have. My pension with inflation looks like nothing to me. The accumulated pension looks like nothing to me. I mean, look at the prices, cost of our regular livelihood, cost of livelihood. How are you going to accumulate money during your work years and say that I'm comfortable if I'm going to be living for next 15 years or 20 years? There is a social give and take. You are not just looking after yourself, you're a social being. Like I said, my existence on this planet is an animate existence. Even if I have to give a small gift to somebody as a social give and take, I don't have money, even if I have earned a handsome amount. I do not know at which stage my ill health is going to knock at the door and going to say bypass surgery required, and from where do I get that money? So let's get this, the population aging, the economic aspect of it is going to get day by day severe. And I'm not worried so much about money. I'm worried about the insecurity that comes with it. I'm very worried about the lack of literacy when it comes to economic. And you lose literacy as you grow old. That is my worry. Do you understand what I'm saying? What do I mean by I lose literacy? I could be a PhD right now in aging. Once I retire, there will be, after 5 years or 7 years or 8 years, the next generation telling me, look, you don't understand, you keep quiet. We will tell you what to do with your pension. I'm losing literacy because financial literacy is connected to social development. And as an old person, I am slowly thrown out, marginalized. I don't have access to keep myself literate. And it is inevitable. Look at technology. I mean, I really love elderly, senior citizens, my old folks and friends around who are happy to work with their cell phone. But mind you, the new generations of cell phones now also tell me that I can't use this. My child can use it better. My students can use it better. Imagine, once I retire, you tell me very honestly, in how many years you're going to start feeling that I'm technology illiterate? Not many years. So I'm worried. You will not have money to buy that new technology. You will not have money to literate yourself with that new technology, with the new economic policies, with the new requirements. I am sorry, it's going to be diminishing. Let's accept it. And why is it happening? Because our society is not sensitive enough. There is political implication to population aging, which we all are aware of. Right now, we will see Asian societies. I will talk about India right now. Senior citizens are walked over repeatedly. You want to shout aloud and say, these are our rights, we want those rights. I will talk about Mumbai. I will talk about Maharashtra. The Joint Action Committee has got together to say, look, we will use nota if you do not listen to our rights. Okay? Nobody is still listening. And you know why nobody is still listening? Because somewhere they know that this nota is not going to be used by them. Senior citizens know. Not really. we have not managed to tell them our power. We have not managed to convey to them how powerful we are. And this is what I keep talking about. It's diminishing returns slowly. Cultural, cultural marginalization, don't talk about. It's so sad. It's really sad in the sense people just stop asking you your preferences. There are tiny, tiny examples that I can see. I talk to students, they are all between 15 to 18 and 19 and 20. And I always ask them, when you all go hoteling, do you take your grandparents? Yes. So what do they like to eat? Oh, they don't have preferences. We take them where we want to take them. Now, I don't know whether to be happy with the fact that they take them. And I don't know whether to be sad about the fact that they do not even know what senior citizens like. Cultural exclusion is tremendous. And may I please add in that senior citizens have accepted it as their faith. I have stopped respecting myself, my existence. If I'm going to do that, nobody's going to listen to you. Cultural exclusion can be a slow killer. You know what happened during COVID? Yes, senior citizens were told sit at home, don't go out. And some people in the family started deciding whether they should go out, whether they should come out of the room, whether they should talk to people, etc., etc. It led to depletion in their cultural socialization. They stopped going to temple, not as a religious thing, temple to meet their friends. They stopped meeting their own friends. They were always with television. There was no cultural give and take whatsoever. A lot of them and their existence died during COVID. We kept them jailed. We kept them at home because we were protecting them. Didn't realize people at all that while we were being overprotective about them, we have not allowed them to move out. We have not allowed them to exercise. We have not allowed them to meet other people. Everything came to standstill for them. COVID meant something very, very dangerous to senior citizens. I'm saying this again and again. And we do not even know the gravity of that impact. Nobody can tell you. You can only ask them, but they have stopped talking. They have really stopped talking. Okay, so cultural and social is something that I have already spoken about. I'm moving to the next slide because I must, but hope you are with me in this. I think what I'll do is, as I move towards slowly my final implication, I don't want to show you a PowerPoint, but I want to talk about it. You know what has happened. So far I have spoken about what it is when we talk about aging, what it is when we talk about population aging. And now I want you to understand another situation about the process of population aging, which is going to be the third section of my talk and the final section of my talk. I'm worried about two very important dimensions of aging. Okay. The first dimension is something that we have quite often referred to as researchers, and that is feminization of aging. And I've said this repeatedly that women are surviving longer, surviving because it's a struggle many times, than men. So the number of old women are increasing in proportion if you check it against the number of male population. Okay. Now, what has happened is, why should we worry about this population? We should be happy, right? No. We have to look at the quality of our population aging or aging population. Now, what has happened is, try and understand, women culturally have been told that you're dependent on your male counterpart. As they age and are without their male counterpart, their decision-making ability is already fractured. So they have been abused, marginalized, excluded more, generally speaking, than those survivors who are men and their cultural make is different. Therefore, I keep saying that aging in men and aging in women are two different things. Now, here again, something is very interesting. Aging women, or rather, I'll say retired women, are revered upon till they are useful to the family. Because that could be typically the age when the grandchildren are growing up and the daughter-in-law is working, son is working. So you are typically told that you are very precious in a family. Please look after our children. Children grow up. But when children grow up, you age, right? And then suddenly your efficacy is zero. A woman's efficacy in family is understood with reference to her caregiving ability, cooking ability. But if she cannot do it, with aging, if she loses that ability of hers, I'm sorry to say, using it from gender lenses, women are the most compromised, neglected senior citizens of the ones that are there around in society. So feminization of aging, and they do not know how to look after themselves. See, women grow up neglecting their needs. Even now, I'm hoping that with generational changes, things will change. They are probably changing slightly, but still, they are not people, most of the women are not women who are well processed, well looked after, okay, well nurtured. A woman typically has neglected her. A woman typically has looked after her family at the cost of her own well-being. Now, when such a woman ages, she doesn't know what to do with herself. And unfortunately, the family doesn't know what to do with her because her utility is limited. Okay. So feminization of aging is a major, major problem. And I'm really worried about it. Second issue is about aging of the aged. Like I said earlier, you are not just aging, but you have a longer process of aging. There is something called manufactured immortality. What is manufactured immortality? Connected to your aging process. You say that, okay, you're going to have a longer life. Now, longer life is fine, but our societies are still not thinking about what to do with the aging aged. We are still thinking about what to do with our aged people. Aging aged, what do you do with them? We do not have solutions yet. So that's the second concern. And it's a huge, huge, huge concern. And the third concern is about, if you talk about India, is about the diversity of the opportunities, subsidies, concessions, attention, values that go with aging. There are huge discrepancies. So financially, one state is different than another state. One country is different than another country. You have to think when you fall ill in which state you are or in which country you are. I mean, I have heard many senior citizens whose children are now abroad saying that, Baba, we don't want to be in India because Indian government doesn't look after. We want to be in Canada because Canadian government is much more, helpful. Or we want to be in this state of America because their aging is better. Sad. It's a tragedy. So you don't want to grow old in your own society or in your own country. Isn't that a tragedy? The feeling itself of the fear of feeling neglected, the fear of feeling that nobody is going to look after me. And therefore to go to some other country, therefore to go to some other culture, therefore to go to some other society saying it's better there, implies that we have been inactive in helping our social culture around and empowering our social culture around to make it habitable when we grow old. So I'm going to just conclude by saying this, that most of us have instilled within us the fear of aging, fear for aging, and fear about aging. Unless and until we all come together, and unless and until we all accept the fact that, look, aging is very natural. I'll use another word, very organic, very inevitable. And therefore, I'm going to go through this process with the strength that I have, okay, of being a mortal being. We are not going to manage to negotiate with the fears about aging. On that note, it is 7:30 almost. I'm going to stop. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be here. And I'm sincerely looking forward to
Yes, thank you.
Dr. Ambali. Sincerely looking forward to some discussion. Sincerely. So thank you. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Sandhu, for an excellent deliberation, I would say, and a very informative and engaging session. And the sociology perspective always helps us to think something very different. And your talk is an invitation to realize and understand old age problem, the foundational problem. You know? And particularly gender connotation is very much. So it was really very helpful, and I can recall when I was visiting in Punjab, and I asked one of my friends that why you want to go to Canada. Social security. It is just social security, and so we are very with the advent of this all LPG policy, we can't see any scope of social security, and this is very important issue. And I think we should also talk to our power. They don't understand the suffering of our founder. I think age-old people are the founder people of every society. So with this word, now I would like to invite participants. Please ask any question.
I can see Dr. Ambali here who wrote, and Dr. Ambali, I must tell you that there's complete respect for your kind of work that you're doing. Sincerely, when you're on field all the time and you're listening to them, I heard your presentation, I saw the recording of it, and I was really touched by the efforts that you all put in to make senior citizens feel healthier and comfortable.
Thank you, madam. Better to be frank, you are all source of inspiration for us. So thank you so much for this. And I just like to bring another issues regarding feminization of aging. Yes, from our side, if you see, we don't get them for the regular follow-up. Yeah. And the old lady always keep requesting to write prescription for 2 months or 3 months, because if you write for 1 month, my son will get for 50 days. So write for 2 months, so he'll get the drugs for 1 month. And unless they become serious, they are not attended in the few cases, but majority are there. Yes, staying alone. I am now coming across women who are staying alone. They are attending our geriatric clinic on their own, and that is again an issue. They are widow and their children are lost. They have lost their children either in COVID or in road traffic accidents. These are the major issues we are now coming across recently of late. Just I want to inform you what is happening at the ground level. Yes. That's an excellent deliberation of yours, and thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It's very important. Thank you.
One of our participants, I think, he left the meeting, but he asked question directly in my chat box. He's asking what are the policies you can see in building capacity and creating as a population of aging.
Achha. So
capacity and creating
that's right. We all have read about, I'm sure, if there are people who are interested, all of us must read the National Aging Policy very carefully. It is, there are gaps, but it's an impressive document. But our worry has always been that the implementation is quite a varied force in different states, number one. And number two, that there are huge loopholes in terms of how people are unaware of it. Like I'm saying just now, how many of us have read it very carefully? I mean, I remember as the mentor that I had, from Kerala, he told me one day, he said, stop talking about it unless and until you have read properly that policy. Do not write and do not talk about it. And I went back to that policy and I said that this is something that we must all keep with us. It should be like allow me to use a religious term, like a Bible for all the senior citizens. At least they are aware then of what their rights are, what a government is expected to do. But there are policies, there are laws as well. I'm not saying that that government has not put on paper their good intention, but I'm afraid that implementation is extremely poor. Implementation is not in favor of senior citizens, much of it. And we all must be reading and keep ourselves, literate about whatever that the government is trying to offer, Indian government is trying to offer. But keep in mind the implementation in several respects is on state. The state has to take initiative to implement it. And not many states are kind to senior citizens and are sensitive about needs of senior citizens right now.
Yes, Miniti Pradhanji.
Hello. Yeah, now, hello. Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, because I'm traveling actually, that due to the network issue, I had very impaired listening. I couldn't hear most of the things. Okay, anyway, good evening, everyone. Thank you, ma'am. Whatever I have heard, listened, I think it was very insightful and very beautifully explained presentation. So, as I have not listened full thing, I cannot ask a question, but I just to share a few things. As ma'am was telling, it is on the female always. There is a tremendous pressure to take care of everyone around and take care and look good, look youthful. So, recently on that Cannes red carpet, there was people were trolling, to Aishwarya Rai. So, one poetry was coming to my mind, which I have written. So, apart from that, I would catch up with later with that video because I couldn't listen everything. So, anyway, I would like to thank you so much because it was very insightful. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I really appreciate you listening to the bits and pieces that you could. I will urge you to please listen to the recording because you have so much to share with, and we certainly will keep in touch. It will be nice if like-minded people come together and share their thoughts. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can see some name, Shubham Tiwari ji and Malya, Rina is there. So I think they have left, many of our participants left. So one question is about these days, because I have been in Delhi, and I found they have a question, they have a concern of property issues. There are violence, there is a property affairs sort of thing. So what sort of activism, we need, because we can directly, like the youth, we can go to their institution, university, and we can engage with them, but we cannot go to home. So in this case, what would be the possible way of, to sensitize, old age people about their rights and all this?
See, like I've always said, I am not a person reading in the legal aspect of it, but I've been listening to many lawyers. And I will say two things. Number one is, as far as senior citizens in India are concerned, this accumulated property and giving away property, even while you are alive, has been a trend. We have always said as gerontologists, never ever hand over your property while you're alive. You can make a will. Now, this idea of making a will is also taken in a very funny manner. If you're telling senior citizens, oh, you must make a will, the idea is, oh, so are you telling us that we are going to die very soon? And hello, we are not saying that at all. We are just saying that after your death, how your accumulated property or your accumulated whatever that you have, jewelry and whatever, it should go with the right channels to the right people is all that we are saying. Make your will, keep it at a safe place, and ensure that that will is people have access to it after you no longer are alive. People don't like it. Making a will is like a poor gesture or a bad gesture, okay, that you are anticipating your death or somebody else is planning your death and therefore we wouldn't do it. Now there's another sense of thing that I will give away my property while I'm alive, I will feel good. You are left with nothing and you really, nobody knows for how many days you're going to be living after that. The whole tendency of this property thing, we got to make people literate and aware about it. There are two things that I will quickly talk about. Number one is we always had this reverse loan system when it comes to housing. Okay, now when you say that you have your house on your name and you are aging, you're old, and you don't want to give away your property to your children, or you want to give your property to your children, whatever decision that you make. If you don't have children in India, say, for example, or you don't want to give away that property, for example, then there came up the idea where banks said that you can sell that in anticipation, we can give you your money. But when you are no longer there, we will take that property in our custody because you have sold it already to us. Reverse mortgage. Now, it did not work as far as some of these states are concerned, including Maharashtra, because the number of years that they were giving were specific number of years, which meant that after that, where do I go if I continue to live? I do not know, number one. Number two, the maintenance problem, within when you have given it away, who's going to look after it? Nobody knew. You had no right to revise your contract with the bank. So I am continuously feeling that, okay, they are saying you have 10 years after that. But what if I live longer? Do I have to leave this house? Do I not give anything to relatives? So again, the phases that were worked out for that reverse mortgage were faulty and it did not work. Unfortunately, there are gaps. There are lots of gaps there. Second problem is about property. A second problem with regard to property is that there came in a law which said that you have to maintain the children have to maintain their parents. Fine, maintenance law that we had. Now the problem came up, if there is abuse, then the parents, the senior citizens can go to the court and say that my children are, grown-up children are abusing, or my grown-up children are beating me up, or whatever. You do that and you go back to the same house. So you are going to be going to the lawyer and saying that, look, my children are troubling me. You write that complaint, and then where do you go after that? You go back to the same house, right, where your children are. How do you expect your children to be accepting you if you have already... So what kind of situation is this where the police is saying, the legislature is saying that there is a law to protect you, but what do I do after that? There is a law is enough. If I'm going to use that law, what happens to me after that? See, we have seen this in women's studies in a big way, that when you are going to be saying my husband is bothering me or my husband is beating me up, if you are compelled to go back to the same house, what happens the next day? You're not there. So there are so many of the women who will go back to the police station and say, no, when he gets angry, he does that. I'm so sorry, I was upset with him. I'm taking back my complaint. Now, if a woman also is, the trajectory of it is going to be this way, what do you expect from senior citizens? So this whole property is become a trigger as with regard to the either the fights and the arguments between two generations. So generally, we look at property as something that you are giving away to the next generation to make the next generation feel secure, is working like a boomerang and is making parents and senior citizens feel more vulnerable. So therefore, I said that sociologists have to come in here to bridge these gaps between these generations that are coming up in a huge manner. I don't think law can help us here or lawyers can help us here completely unless and until your socialization is done as pro-adult socialization. I am not even calling it aging social. Law requires definitely a supplementary trigger of good socialization. And it is funny, as a sociologist, let me say this, that there is something called child socialization, but there isn't anything called adult socialization. Nobody tells me what is appropriate when I grow old. I'm supposed to understand it myself. So we need a strong sociological wing to ensure that the laws are implemented with regard to property, abuse, etc., in a more careful manner. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think the last question is related to your, you made the comment about sociology. Irina is asking why sociology do not talk about old age in master courses. So I can see, I have seen so many syllabus also, and I didn't find, a serious theoretical work of aging, in our classroom talk or conversation. Even in urban sociology, old age is a serious problem. Urban sociology is a normative dimension, but even they, do not incorporate old age as a matter of urban issue. So I think, it's a very serious question that even just, yes.
I want to answer this. I stopped my presentation at the point where I said that I cannot and should not take this forward. But one observation that I want to certainly share is what has happened is we have been traditionally looking at senior citizens as recipients of attention and care. So what has happened is there's something called NGOization of problems of senior citizens. With due respect to all my friends who run NGOs very dutifully and in a very devoted manner, and I have many of those friends around, I must say that the academic deliberations that are required to ensure that socialization of old people is done properly, particularly in sociology, is not yet something that we have accepted. So NGOization of senior citizens and of aging has led to a thought process that sociology doesn't require to deliberate on this theoretically, but only NGOs can help senior citizens out whenever a problem comes up. So my approach has always been that we stop looking at aging as a problem. We take it up as a phenomenon. We scientifically and theoretically deliberate it enough to have, Irina is completely correct, to give its positioning in sociology in a wonderful manner. You check it out, Irina, you will find that in foreign universities, there is constantly a course in sociology of aging, social gerontology, social geriatrics. All of these have been explored. India seems to be not interested in it. The paradigm has constantly been youth-friendly paradigm. So, and I'm happy about it. I mean, of course, I understand that it's a youth-friendly, but instead of making it youth-friendly, you are only telling them that youth is good. I mean, young is beautiful and old is ugly. So there is a problematic situation in sociology as far as aging as a process is concerned. I remember when I started working many years ago, people asked me, but why are you working? You're not even old. And I looked back and said, my God, what a poor mentality is this? You're not even old. So now when I start talking about it, I said, see, look, I am going closer to it now. Do you think I qualify to study this? You know, it's that kind of apathy. So yes, Irina, we all must get together and ensure that we include and start including scientific understanding of aging in sociology. Thank you for asking that question.
Very well said. Thank you so much, Dr. Chandra. And it was really very enlightening session, I would say. And there are so many important concerns that you invited us to again revisit and understand. And again, I did not even found a kind of age dichotomy in the sociology. Now, with your invitation, I think it's very important to also understand, like, you're so much focused about, youth and their development. Of course, they are the future, but also, present. And in Delhi, I found, old age are suffering. They have a kind of existential state. When one of just 3 days ago, I visited one of the old age nursing center, and I found there one person who is a crorepati. He just wanted some kind of communitarian feeling. That is why he came to stay in the old age. So it's a matter of great concern that which of course sociology of family sometimes talks about. But I think there needs to be a good engagement, discussion, activities, and academic discussion. And this session is really very insightful. And the recording of this session will be sent to university, where there is online course on old age problem and perspectives. So it will be helpful for them also to understand this problem. And we are also, there are some students who will make a short-term reel of all our important insights during whole 7-8 days of the summer school, so that we can reach to so many people in order to sensitize them. And thank you so much, and your contribution will be very helpful for us in our future also. So thank you so much. And I also feel so grateful that Dr. Anand Bhai is there. So again, very, we are so much thankful. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. And all our participants, Maniki ji, Irina. Irina is a very deep seeker from Canada. He is pursuing PhD from York University, Canada. So thank you so much, Irina. So with this word, thank you so much. Good night. Bye. Thank you.